All right, fantastic. Well, season 5 of Founder Friday continues. Guys, who are you and what are you working on? Introduce yourselves for everybody.
It's Steve and Andy. I'm Steve.
And I'm Andy.
And we're working on a project called Toggle, which is a family well-being project, a device for the home to reconnect families.
Okay. Now, by the accent, I guess most people will work out that you're from somewhere near Bristol, right? Do you want to give some of the backstory to how you two are co-founders and how you got started on this project?
Yeah, sure. So we've worked together. So I own a print finishing business in Bristol. Have done for 37 years. Steve worked with me now for 20 plus years. We've got a couple of other businesses in sort of that are linked within the print trade, box manufacturing and notebooks. And we've come up with this idea just through Steve being the ideas man, basically. So he comes in most mornings with a new idea, full of excitement. And most of them tend to don't even make it past our production meetings. But on this occasion, we decided to pick this one up and run with it, and it's been really a really interesting journey.
And this is nothing print related, though, as an idea,
No,
right? So, I mean, your conversations must be quite far-reaching when you're having these idea sessions in the morning.
Yeah, very much so. So they go from just about every corner of everything. So the ideas don't just sort of come from a print background.
All right. So inspiration. Tell me what triggered this one off in the Bright Ideas brain.
It was a conversation with my my eldest daughter, who's just gone up to senior school, and she wanted pocket money to buy lunch and everything else. So the conversation was, at her age, you can't just have money; she needs to earn it. And the conversation led on to what Toggle started out as initially. The company's called Puzzle Pay because we were going to make a learn to earn app. So I said I didn't want her spending too much time cutting the grass and doing the washing up, because these years are quite important for what she's going to learn, and it shapes her future. So the learn to earn app came about, where she could basically do some maths challenges and earn screen time and earn pocket money kind of thing. But that's now evolved into what Toggle's become, and that's where it all started.
Yeah,
which was not quite a year ago. So we made so within the last 8 months, Toggle's or Puzzle Pay changed to Toggle, and we believe we've got a much stronger product out of it.
Now, obviously, I've seen you guys pitch this to folks, and I've seen the device and stuff, but sort of outline for anybody who's watching this and doesn't know you guys, what actually is the idea? How does it work?
So it's an idea that is dealing with probably the hottest topic out there at the moment, which is screen time and the amount of times that people are on devices. So this is about trying to get people to put their devices down and reconnect as families. There's a social well-being element to it, as well as trying to tackle some of the habits that we're all guilty of doing, which is to pick up our devices and go down
to be looking at the phone but talking to somebody out the corner of our mouth, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly, and be more present and be more. So we're trying to deal with those things, and we've got a device that we're looking at, which is linked to an app. So people put down their devices. They also start to earn rewards, which are potentially linked to other activities, companies and third parties, to give them incentives to connect, do things as a family.
Yeah, I think when we looked at the screen time issue, was being semi-solved in various kind of ways. Family Link by Google and lots of other products that basically they kind of blame children as a child issue. I think we were quick to realise it's not just a child issue. is a whole family issue. Adults are just as bad. And there's lots of products out there aimed at individuals, but nothing for families. So we come to the conclusion that it was a whole family issue and it should be solved as a whole family issue. So we're looking at, so rather than fixing screen time, we're looking at reconnecting families. So screen time then becomes a side effect of it. So get devices down, spend more time together, devices are down for longer, families reconnected, everyone wins.
So is that your perfect dream, and does that happen now in your household? Now you've got this this toggle device.
I have tried it, and with surprisingly, but we're actually going to a pilot. So in September, we're going to roll out a 50 home pilot. This is being backed by Manchester University, so it's going to be an actual a study done by someone we've met who was part of what was the Bristol Children of the 90s.
Yeah.
So there was a study called the Children of the 90s, which is still ongoing. It's been going for 26 years, and one of the doctors who was heavily invested in that is running the pilot for us. So we're going to find out if it works or not, but we're pretty sure it will.
This is quite a journey from having a chat in the morning about your idea to the point where you're now working with a research project on basically social engineering. This is pretty cool.
So it's about behavioural change. So something that originally could have been an app to just help people out is now going to be a scientifically backed product. That we hope can take over the world.
It can potentially be installed in most homes around the world, just like your Alexas and things like that. So it's on a bit of a grand scheme. So whilst a couple of likely lads from Bristol come up with some solution, but in fairness, we all our research and everything else we've looked at the moment, we think we've and everybody we speak to all seem to be getting on board with some. We've looked at found a solution to a massive problem, one potential solution.
And obviously we're supported by Canopy, Let Squared, so we're surrounding ourselves with people who can help.
Yes, so that's the areas of expertise that we haven't got. We're looking to invest in people.
And you got a great response on the demo night, right? Which is how you got voted the People's Choice on that evening. And it was a good evening. There was a lot of high caliber stuff going on in the room, and everybody thought you were their favourite. So that's a good sign in itself.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And we're at the moment we're learning to be a bit more forward facing with the people. And it was good. I think the positives were people instantly understood it, and a couple of people said, because we're building it as a family device, but there's no reason it can't be used for couples. One comment was, this will work perfectly for me and my boyfriend. And the meetings we've had regarding the study, we've also told this could work for the NHS. Someone we've got helping us who's at sick form said this would be perfect in a sick form. So without even thinking about it, it's nice to see people putting it in places they think it could be used, which is fantastic.
Now, you guys have obviously known each other for a while, and you've done some businesses. But what gives you the inspiration or the comfort to go into business in the first place? Like, is this something that's been in your family background, or are you kind of outliers in your own family units?
Personally, an outlier within my family. So I started when I was 24. Always had a vision that I could do something better, different, and also run the business differently. It was more about people. I think Folio as a business, our main business, is about the people. We all work together quite closely. My first accountant had written a book on accountancy and asked if he could, a few years ago, asked if he could reference me within his book. When he came to see me and introduced to our business, he said he walked into the office and asked how I ran the business. I opened a drawer, unfolded 4 sheets of A4 paper stuck together with sellotape, And he said, on those 4 pieces of paper, everything you need to know how to run a business. And he said it was this instinctful, and I've done that ever since. I run the business from a cash perspective. If cash is if you run it from a cash perspective and cash is there, then the profits will follow. Too many people get caught up on profit and losses. At the end of the day, the lifeblood of any business is cash. So. And from there on in, the rest of it has all been self-taught, really. I made many mistakes along the way. Most important thing
there's no such thing as a perfect game, right? But the fact that you're still going 20, 30 years later is a testament to how well things are going.
Exactly, in an exceptionally difficult sector that has gone through a massive transformation. So it's like anything else, you have to evolve along with it, adapt, evolve, and look for opportunities along the way. Whenever there's been a setback, I've always looked at any setback we've ever had and looked for the opportunity within that setback. So in amongst every negative, you've got to find a positive, and that positive is a reason to get back out of bed the next day and bounce back.
Get going, absolutely. And you've always got a new idea coming in the morning, right?
Absolutely. You've got to look for those. Yeah, there are opportunities everywhere.
And do either of you have any sort of education background in business or entrepreneurship, or any mentors or anything like that have helped you?
No, I wouldn't say no. Not certainly from an education point of view. No, my dad forced me into this trade when I left school because I finished my exams. He didn't want me sat around all summer, so he forced me into a print job rather than loaf around. And from then on in, everything else has been self-taught for me personally. And probably the same as yourself.
Yeah, I was only educated to GCSE level. Same kind of thing as Andy. I did a week's work experience at a print company while I was 15, and I can always remember getting home on the Friday. They asked me if I wanted to do any weekend work if it popped up, and as a 15-year-old wanting a bit of extra spare cash, I said yes. And I think I was home about an hour when the phone rang, and they asked me if I wanted to work 12 hours Saturday and Sunday. So as a 15-year-old, I just said yes. And I can remember popping in on the way home from school on the Monday, and them giving me a little envelope when you used to get your wages in a little brown envelope.
That was a nice feeling when it was really tangible, like you could do stuff with that envelope.
It was the most money I'd ever seen in my life. So when
you were hooked.
When the opportunity came to, they offered me a full-time job then when I left school. And I didn't really at the time have anything in mind I wanted to do, so it seemed like a good thing to do. So
And the money was good.
Yeah, money was good back then. And if you apply yourself now, it can still be quite good. But yes,
we still have those same ethos and ethics. I think we come from a similar sort of background in that respect. You know, you get up and graft, and those opportunities, and then look for the opportunities along the way, whether that's progress up through the management ladder, or opportunities that come along like I had where I started my own business. So it's about those opportunities. They'll come along, you either take them or don't take them. So it's better to it's better to have a regrets of having tried as opposed to have regrets as having not tried. So
fantastic.
We've had many business ideas, a few business ideas. We've made a few attempts at some of them fell at the first hurdle and we just gave up. There's at the moment we've got a couple of other projects on the go that we've had to put on the back burner because this is taking up a huge amount of time, but also has a huge amount of potential, and it's something we're hugely passionate about. Certainly the social aspect of it, as well as the sheer madness of potential that it has if it were to take off.
Imagine if you installed this in the White House for Donald Trump and his family to actually put their devices down on the way into dinner. That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Blame me, I think he needs to chop his hands off that man, but there is another story.
So before we open up to the opportunity for you to ask me questions, anything you want, I was going to ask you guys, what are you each good at that you complement each other in? What are you good at that maybe the other one's bad at?
I think definitely from a business perspective, that's Andy's bit. I seem to be the ideas man. I don't do it on purpose. I think it's probably mainly from the day job. So I run production, and as a print finishing company, we rely on people bringing work into us on dates they say they will, and then they never do. So it's a bit of a juggling act every day. So I think in terms of problem solving, that's one of my fortes, because I've had to do it for over 25 years on a daily basis. So I think when I see something, and yeah, I think I could do. I think I found a way of doing that a little bit better. There's a problem. There's just problems, and I like to solve them. Whether I want to or not, it just happens. I find myself waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, just with a new idea. But your
I like the
concentration.
fact you say that with a smile on your face as well. Some people say problems, and there's a grimace, and there's a frown, and there's a furrowed brow, and you're kind of like, well, there's problems, and I just like that.
we do like a challenge. We do like a challenge, and it's and in amongst the difficulty, and that's the thing. We all work together and solve those problems. And like Steve said, I think I'll probably bring the business nous to it, and financial planning and various other bits and pieces. So we complement and complicate each other well. We complement each other well as well. So yeah, so I think it works very well in that respect.
Nice, very nice. All right, here's the moment. Ask me a question, anything you like. I'll do my best to answer it on the fly.
Okay, so how do you get into Canopy? How do you start Canopy?
No, great question. So Canopy started back in 2014 in Somerville, Massachusetts. Me and a couple of co-founders pulled it together. Matt, who was the originator of the idea, what he identified in Boston was really that there were a lot of silos, people working in their own little niches, and we were like the 58th incubator to go live in the city. And what he wanted to do was get people who had the same mindset together, even though they were all in their own little silos, but bring them under one roof, this kind of canopy connected piece, like we're all connected in this, under this canopy, or in this canopy, as he used to put it. And he would then mixing them up with the same DNA, he wanted to activate them around certain things. So we were talking about algorithmic discrimination, we were talking about homelessness in Boston and stuff like that. And so if I get the smartest people I know with this kind of DNA and I give them these kind of problems, I reckon something really awesome could happen. And also it was much more interesting to see what ideas people came up with when you put a founder of a tech company with an artist, with somebody running for state senator, in a space. They all talked about really interesting things from different perspectives and came up with new ideas together, and that was kind of the secret sauce. And it was fun, right? One of the things we did was we had in the first space, we hosted a whole load of artists who did cartoons. They literally did the graphic novels and stuff, and we had all the superheroes all around the walls in our space. We had this paint which was quite specific from Boston. It's called the Idea Paint, which is basically coated all over all the walls, and then you could draw on it and you could wipe it off like it was a whiteboard. And our walls were literally worth hundreds of thousands of pounds, where these artists had put all this stuff up around, but you daren't rub up against it because it would just smear off, sort of thing. It was kind of insane. But that's where it all began. And then Matt's wife Kelly drew the logo of Canopy, and it stayed to this day. And Matt and Kelly are still out there in a different part of Massachusetts now. But yeah, that was the inspiration for it. And our original keynote when we launched, a guy called Noam Chomsky gave the original keynote talking about the role of innovation with peace and international security. And Matt put together some amazing things around what happens in prisons and how rehabilitation does or doesn't happen, and how you can actually be innovative in the way you deal with people's psychology in those spaces, as well as the police force and stuff. Yeah, it's quite a privilege to be part of.
Excellent.
How soon was it till you moved to the UK, and what other countries do you?
So I mean, the first sort of main stretch was out to Portugal. So I was living there for a couple of years, and I actually didn't want to do anything Canopy in Portugal because we were doing things and having our ups and downs and stuff in Boston, and it felt like a bit too much. But then 3 or 4 people got together and kind of encouraged me to do it, and they got involved in it as well. And we, even though I didn't have a visa to be in Portugal, none of us had bank accounts and stuff, we managed to blag a building together, or floor in a building, and we got a load of friends in together, and we all painted it up, and then started a sort of co-working space, and then started doing the incubation things on top of it. So Portugal became a bit of a destination. We did a first test event where we got like 65 people into a room and did our first demo night and sort of had a few drinks afterwards, and that proved that we could get going, and that sort of went from there. And then the UK happened, partly because I am British, and we had an opportunity to help the science park in Exeter do some stuff and begin. They were sort of like a lot of empty buildings at the time with maybe 20 or 30% occupancy, and we brought the Canopy recipe in and ran our events and took over a bit of the co-working space there and sort of gave people free membership to come in and be part of the community. And by the time we'd finished, they were sort of like 70-75% occupancy, and it was sort of flying along quite nicely. I think it was about a year or so of just doing our thing there. And it sort of grew and morphed and moved around, and COVID messed with us quite a bit, taking things more remote rather than in person. But we're still here, sort of 12 years later, doing our thing. Yeah, it's been fun. There's according to the thing I looked at this morning, there's 860 founders in the community at the moment, in one way, shape, or form, doing something to do with their startups, or just finished or exited or whatever, and about 120 in the virtual incubation program. So, in terms of size, we're actually one of the biggest incubators in Europe, which is insane, considering that it's basically one man and his dog half the time, and a few interns here and there, and loads of people volunteering to actually pull it all together. It's quite special, actually.
It's a good network. We had a good couple of meetings with a couple of your guys actually. So yeah, really interesting, really insightful.
Have you spent time with Pedro yet?
Yeah, we had a call with Pedro. It was very good. We just got so many things going on. We need to diarise a follow up. Who else did we have a call with? The other guy was
I can't remember his name now. Sorry, it was
Was he American, English, Portuguese, or
English?
Yeah.
It was the so like the app chat that we're calling.
Yeah.
It was about building the back end and stuff in apps in stuff like that. But yeah, all the meetings we've had with everyone is things that are a little bit out of our comfort zone to start off with, in terms of marketing and digital product and everything. And every meeting we've had, we've come away buzzing with some new information that could guide us in a different direction. So it's fantastic.
Each one's helped to shape us and build the project, and so yeah, we've taken something from everything. So it's all just superb.
And I think you got in quite early on us building those incubation plans as well, didn't you? So I don't know if that's been useful to you or not, but that's been one of our initiatives over the last couple of months.
Which one? Sorry, the
it's like a slide deck of all the kind of people you could meet and all the
yeah. No, and like you say, even with Set Square, same kind of thing. You look. Will be. I think even marketing. We had a discussion with someone in marketing, which is something we thought we don't really need to think about now, but we had a meeting and it shows you do. Like even from the stage, if you're not going to be selling anything for 6 months, a year, we need to work out who your target market is to start off with, because that help you design your product. It could lead you in one way in terms of design, because it suits that market a little bit better. So yeah, every conversation is fantastic, and yeah, we're like sponges and we soak it all up.
When I did my MBA, my marketing professor absolutely laboured the point that he thought everything in business was marketing. He was like, if you do your marketing right, everything else holds together, and the root of everything should be marketing. And he went on and on about it. But the more I do with this stuff, the more I think you might have actually been right.
Oh yeah, we see there were a couple of other projects we've had, and yeah, without any shadow of a doubt, the marketing is key. It's essential.
Yeah, so we built an award-winning notebook business, paper notebook, not digital, and yeah, award-winning, and trying to get any traction with it, so difficult, even though we were in the press and everything else, just trying to keep the ball rolling. So as to say is we've learned that we need to do a little bit more, even in terms of social media and stuff. We need to be a little bit better.
Just understand it. You know, probably it's taught us one thing, which is the product is only one thing.
Yeah,
So,
if no one knows about it, they're not going to buy it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, I say we take little bits from everything we do.
Well, and sometimes you make it blue, right? But the customer wants it purple, and until you make it purple, they're not going to buy it. It's the same thing. It's just a different color, but in their mind, it's a different value because of that color.
Yeah.
Which I think the pilot we're running for Toggle, especially with the science behind it, is going to help shape the product, because it's going to be, people are going to tell us what they like, what they don't like, whether it should be purple, whether it should be pink, and you can just take all that information in and make the best product you possibly can.
And I sometimes mention the colour thing because I don't know if you remember when Manchester United used to play in grey shirts.
Yeah,
they used to concede more goals and they used to miss more passes. And
they couldn't pick each other out with the grey, wasn't it?
It was bizarre, wasn't it? Right, and you just think, oh, they're wearing football shirts, right? Sure, they should be fine, but literally the colour made all the difference to the team.
Exactly right.
So I'm going to ask you, like, what's next for you, and where are you going to take this? And then the last thing I'm going to ask you is, the famous godparent question: what's your best advice for a first-time founder that's watching this? So let's go with the exciting bit. Like, what's next for this idea? 3 months from now, if we do another interview, where will you be at?
Well, by that time, we would like to think we've then got some funding. So we're now doing, as Steve said, we've got 50 families that we're going to do a trial. We'll get the data back from that, which hopefully becomes proof of concept. At that point, we've got investor pitches lined up to once we've got that information, and then from then on in, it'll be into looking to kick it on and put it into real life.
Are you doing the whole SCIS investment stuff in the UK?
We're SEIS. So that's all gone through. So yeah, we're ready.
By the end of this year, early part of next year, we hope to be well and truly underway. So moving at quite a pace when you consider, this is our sort of side hustle at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we've also learned to be able to try and slow down a little bit in the process, and we're trying to get it all done within a breakneck speed. But you've got to put all the pieces together. So we've had to go back and revisit on numerous occasions, realign ourselves, rethink strategies. So, but we're moving at a nice pace at the moment that we feel we've got all the various bits and pieces. So,
but even in terms of the main business, we've been working on what it would look like without us. So as Toggle grows and we need to spend more time on Toggle, how the main business
building a team behind the scenes to be able to take over. So yeah, it's all many plates spinning at the moment. It's all good fun.
Nice.
I just dread him coming in with another idea tomorrow.
I think you should keep those ones quiet for a little bit, right?
Hold it back at the moment.
He has had a couple. We've had to put on the back burner.
We've got a lovely one for greetings cards.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we've got. Yeah, that is a good one. We will be pushing ahead with that one. But so that's the next stage for us now. We're really excited about it. We had probably had a sort of stall of a couple of 6 weeks. Less than that, 3 or 4 weeks where it felt like it was stalling and stagnating. But now we're kicking on again. So all based on discussions, meetings, and being able to put the ideas to life. So
and I think some of that was a Canopy night as well.
So the stalling or the moving forward?
The moving forward.
Yeah.
So, no, actually taking, even though it was a very basic prototype out, and we're not extremely good at pitching or speaking, as you can probably tell from this podcast. But people instantly got it, and everyone could see it in their homes. So that, I think that was something that picked us up a little bit, and we thought
almost proof of concept in some ways in a smaller field. But so we just now need to get all the various bits and pieces. There's a lot to piece together in terms of the hardware, how it look, what it looks like, how it'll work. there's lots of piece together in terms of the app in the background and how that's going to work, and how we finally deliver that in terms of whether we gamify it and rewards and various things for the kids, and then other bits and pieces for the adults. So there's a lot, many plates spinning in the background, but the progress we're making now, we feel is on the right track, and it's good, solid progress.
Yeah, and none of it is insurmountable at all. I think even though there's more to come, we've kind of done the hard yards, and we know exactly what we need to do and what the product should be. We've had many discussions with many people, everyone with different opinions. So it was just bringing it back to the main DNA of the product and saying, this is it.
That's what we're drilling down into now, is the DNA of the product, and making sure that we've covered all bases, and it's got the correct data to evolve and do so.
Yeah, absolutely. And that I love doing the demo nights in Bristol, and I particularly love doing the speed date format that we did when you were there. That for me is my favorite thing. And I think when you test with so many groups so quickly, you get a really good bit of feedback that lands. You see, there's a lot that people give you, but actually you land the core points that you have to kind of take forward after that very quickly. It's my favorite energy event for sure. I much prefer it to the ones where people stand up and kind of give this perfect pitch in front of you, and you're kind of like, you then have to give them comments or critiques or whatever. I think it's great. All right, look, you guys are pretty seasoned, you're pretty experienced in business. You got two amazing or multiple things going on at the same time. What is your godparent kind of advice for a sort of 22-year-old first-time founder watching this today? What should they be thinking about? What should they be doing?
So I would say always remain open-minded. Never be closed-minded in terms of if you've got a product or you've got an idea or you've got something. Always remain open to adapting that throughout the journey. So what your vision might look like from the outset. Surround yourself, get as much advice as you can possibly get, surround yourself with the best people you can possibly get, and remain open-minded to change and adaptation. What might have been the original concept of thinking, like it was with ourselves, what we've ultimately ended up taking on and running with is completely different. At times there's been a little bit, I think, because it's your idea and you've spent a bit of time on it, sometimes you're reluctant to change or resistant to that change. If you had a vision, this is what you think you've done, you spent a bit of time working on it, and then somebody comes along 6 months later and says, no, I think this will be better. Always remain open-minded, take as much advice as you can get, and try and surround yourself with the best of people. Where if you're areas where you're not strong, try and find people that can give you hints. The incubator programs are perfect for that. It's the amount of people within there with the expertise that you haven't got, and draw on that resource is invaluable.
Amazing.
And then have a solid business plan and make sure it's going to make money.
And I think as well, don't be afraid of failure, because like Andy said, I wake up every other day with a different idea. And it's only took probably about 526 to get to one that is actually any good. But
I think that's
without those other ones, then we wouldn't be where we are. So
I think that's called the law of averages.
Yeah.
If you have enough of them, one's got to be a good one.
Very good, very good. Thank you very much for sharing your story today. I really appreciate it, and congratulations to you for the People's Choice Award winner. But also thanks for being a role model within the community and showing people there's just so many different ways to succeed, right? And
absolutely,
it's quite incredible.
Yeah,
lovely.
Yes.
Good luck to you.
Thanks, Stewart.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, and I look forward to catching up further in the future.
Yeah,
fantastic.